I have a copy of that. There it is.
Yeah, well, that's,
But, keep it out there, I'm gonna try.
sweater's out already, it's not
I
bad.
know it's freezing.
Freezing. I go home and wait for the air conditioning.
I don't know. Hard to say. But there's money, I think. There's money for it. You can cover. Oh, you should be able to.
Someone might be too fast.
I'll double check on that.
Yeah. Crazy.
All right. Hi, John, how are you?
Very good, how you doing?
Okay.
We'll be going home till it'll be dark.
What's that?
We'll be going home till it'll be dark.
I know.
Sunset's what, 7:30?
It's probably earlier than that.
Yeah.
How are you, Sherry?
John, Freeman is a holder. They didn't show up a meeting ago. They were on the agenda.
Oh, I didn't bring my file.
Realized that they're here.
I never brought my.
Okay.
He'll come back with a spring and something revised.
Exactly right.
Something like that require septic. He's gonna bring 20 bodies or something like
You
that.
can cross out soil farm.
A mandatory, we're working on a porta potty business, so we'll buy them something.
As you cross out the solar farm, they won't be here. We don't have, you've got a couple days left, 2 days left on the 30-day wait period for one. It'll come up. They were tabled at the ZBA because the ZBA is waiting for us to be officially lead agency. So they're off too. So everything for the ZBA will get pushed off until October, and we should be ready to go. So we meet before they, then ZBA will meet.
You said Mossville.
Pardon? I don't know. He says he's going to be here. I'm not exactly sure what he has.
He's still on the earth.
Right, but I don't know why he necessarily is coming here tonight. Because he's got,
Modification.
yeah, he's got to wait for town board action tomorrow. I believe the meeting's tomorrow night, right? Yeah, right. So we'll see, whatever. All right. We could do a medley of show tunes or something of that nature if you'd like to wait till 5 minutes.
Did you say Freeman is coming in?
Yes, they're
Can I
right.
have-
I'm hoping I don't see it in the sun. I do not see it, period. This one. It probably is on the file cabinet. Anyone that just came in, we're having a public hearing on a 2-lot subdivision on Walnut Grove, down along the lake, north of Route 31. Anyone wishes to speak to that, they may do so. We'll close the hearing in about 5 minutes. Forrest, why don't you come up front here then? All right. We can't take any action, but let's just talk about this a second.
Native.
road name.
Is this updated now? You had that one road. Yeah,
Everything's updated.
Yeah, the road issue.
Fine.
Okay.
But we got, we don't have any perk testing done or any of that. Just wanted to
Yeah,
maybe discuss that a little bit.
yeah. Remember there was remember we had some naming issues here, but that's, we all joined the crowd here with those things. The question that I want the board to think about a little bit is that Forrest has asked the principals here to get the perk test in depot. Now, we've done this in the past where we required those. This is an area that is not sewered, obviously that's why they're doing it, and it is a wet area. And again, I just want to clarify so that Forrest knows going forward here what the expectation is. Do you feel that you want a full septic design, or would you just be satisfied with the perk test and depot?
What are you indicating as far as a full?
Well,
Design.
if you go to engineer, they're gonna go out, they're gonna perk test this, they're gonna dig a deep hole, they're going to design.
Either
They're gonna
raised
design.
bed or.
Well, the problem is if it doesn't, in this town, if it doesn't perk, we do not do a design until the time, demand on, building permit. If it's a conventional system, that's another
Right.
story. In all likelihood, these will not be conventional systems, unless you wanna weigh in on that.
This house does not have a raised bed system.
Does
That's all
not,
I know is
does not,
does not have it.
right,
That's the one that fronts 31.
that's the one up
corner,
close to
okay.
31, but
It's an older home, so I don't know.
I was gonna say, has it been there a while?
It's been here, so I don't know what it has, but
Sewer.
I don't know.
pardon?
Does that have public sewer?
no.
That
Not on
sewer
this
line doesn't go
stretch
down
road.
there?
No, this stretch of
Down at
road
the
does.
lake it does, and it must run down the highway, but not through here.
And there, we've talked about that the town doesn't, seem to have a clear code that you gotta hook up, necessarily. So, this is, they can have an on-site system. It's just a matter of how far you wanna go. One of the things that we've always said with these maps is that, they're there to be clear so that someone wishes to purchase the lot, they know what they're getting.
Right.
And if you don't have at least minimally a perk test,
You should at least have a perk
at
test.
least a perk test, now let them, they can go from there to a design.
Why not add a note to the final map? A note discussing that no building permit issue until health department approval, acceptable septic design, whatever it is. 'Cause I don't know if we care what they come up with. Is this,
Well, the idea is if somebody buys the lot, they ought to know that they're
it's on
gonna
the
get.
map, that note's on the map that puts them on notice.
That's-
That's
Yeah,
the reason
all
I
right,
say.
okay, if you feel that's sufficient,
Well,
that's
something, as far as, that's not an issue for your people, right?
No,
You'll be
that's
okay.
fine.
You good with that? Or not? That's,
I mean,
that's
yeah,
up to
they
you.
gotta pass the perks.
Well, anyway, we can't make that decision, we gotta
Perk
start, we'll
testing
start.
and depot,
Pardon?
perk testing and depot, or perk testing?
I would do depot too.
Yeah.
You gotta
That's
see,
gonna be
you gotta
on
see what you
everything.
got any modeling, huh?
And that's gonna be on all lots that come in front of you that are not on sewer from here on.
That's what we've done in the past. Okay, I will say, I think you can go back and find we have not done that in every possible one. But I think when we suspect that it would be pertinent, obviously, if we don't, we're pretty sure that these are all gonna be conventional systems or whatever, we wouldn't do that. Or obviously, things we do with sewer and water, we don't get involved at all. Yeah, but, we have to kind of try to be fair and take it case by case.
So from here on out, again, that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good
Yeah.
idea. I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
Everybody knows what.
Yeah,
All right, let's set aside the discussion here for a second. last call on the hearing, I suspect no one, is, can I have a motion to close that hearing, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made to, close the hearing, how do you pronounce that last name? Mars? Oh, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, you did.
Okay,
It just works.
all right. Mariah? Mary?
Auraria?
Yes, yes, yes.
I don't like to butcher the name, but I'm not sure what it is. Okay, any discussion concerning that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, hearing closed. The regular meeting for the Town of Sullivan Planning Board for the month of September 2002 will commence. The minutes for the August meeting have been circulated to the board members. I'd entertain a motion to amend and/or hopefully accept.
Make move to accept it.
Second to that,
I'll
Dave?
second that.
Okay. John, Dave. Any discussion? Not hearing any, all's in favor?
Aye.
Okay, regular meeting, what we have here for an agenda tonight is the hearing, and we'll deal with that immediately. That's gonna be the first item. I don't see Doug Weaver. We've got Doug Weaver on here a few times. And, Mike Mastriano, and he's, I'm not sure, oh, there's Mike? Okay. Okay, are you representing Mike?
No.
Oh, okay. And then we have Mr. Schultz. Ah, there we go. All right, and he has got a 13-lot subdivision down on Hitchcock / North Road. They're like 58 acres. And Freeman. And Mr. Freeman here, not Mr. Freeman, Mr. Dakota. He was on the agenda, but we didn't get on, so we're trying to catch up with him. All right, and then you folks, we get done with that, we'll see if we can answer your questions, okay? All right, Forrest, let's get back to that discussion. So,
Oh, we did approve the meeting. Okay, go ahead. No,
You good?
go- no,
You good?
yeah, I'm good, yeah.
all right? Let's get back to that discussion. If you're okay with that, I would be, but I think that's appropriate. But to go to a full design, the buyer can pay for the design. Let them do it at time.
Okay.
They got the
Condition
information
of
to
the,
make the
condition of
decision.
the building permit being issued. would be
Pardon?
A condition of he would, Forrest would add a note to the map to be filed, to place everyone on notice. The condition for the issuance of a building permit would be, obtaining acceptable approval from the Madison County Health Department for it.
Well, he'd have to have, he's got to have, end up to get a design anyway.
Sure.
So somebody has got to do that if it's a conventional system. If that flips them over into county review, that's just another layer on that.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
I think we're
I
saying,
believe so, yeah.
I think we're saying the same
I think we're saying
thing.
the same thing, yeah.
Okay, so right now, what we're saying is that, so we understand, we're not asking them to get the perk test now and put them on the map.
Okay.
That's the way that would work. If you got a note, you're not gonna have them on this map.
Alright, so the note on the map, then no perk testing. Is that what I just heard?
If you do a note on the map, there is no physical going out and getting perk tests or a deep hole.
Okay.
It just says that has to be done at the time of getting it. But what that does is it doesn't give someone looking at this map a heads up before they buy the lot or apply for a building.
Right.
They've already made the deal. They already own the lot.
Well, any decent lawyer is gonna take a look at the subdivision map and look at the notes and read it and see that, before his client would purchase the house for purposes of constructing a home, they would see that we haven't looked at the septic issue, the disposal issue on the site, that they can look into that and do that themselves.
And it's their own due diligence.
Yes.
Mhm.
What's that?
It should be, you're right.
Their
What's that for?
You know, like it's their own due diligence if you're buying a parcel. you need-
Well, we,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
It's
sad,
not your
that-
responsibility.
Huh?
Right.
It's not your responsibility,
it's sad that that isn't followed through on, and you know that. You know, it's just like the well, you yeah, you gotta have a well, we don't tell them that you gotta go 400 feet to get the water.
John, I have a note that I used to use. Okay, if I email it to you.
I'm sure it's gonna be fine. Yeah, go ahead and when you're ready. Go ahead. Yeah.
That's no, I mean, open the debate, that's why we're here.
I don't know, maybe the buyer ought to know what they're getting into.
Well, I think that
before
this
he
note
can
should
vote
take,
no.
yeah, this
Yeah.
note should take care of that. Should place a buyer on.
But then
notice.
it's up to them to do the perk.
That'd be a cost of doing business
Well, I
on
mean-
that lot. They'll probably, I would assume the seller would adjust their price because
Right.
normally the owner would have to put that expense up front. So maybe
They
they
have to,
adjust the cost.
Yeah.
I think, I guess the answer is, I think it's protective of the ultimate purchaser for Forrest to put the note on. And I'll work out the language with Forrest that he's used it before. I've used some other notes before, I've seen them before, where we don't have that ability to do it at the time of the approval.
That makes sense to me. I mean, it's, they can negotiate it.
Right.
Who's gonna pay for it, split the cost, whatever.
That's not our business.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't
Exactly.
get into that. Alright, I'm good with it, you're good with it? Let's do that, and let's get a motion here that just says that needs to be incorporated. And at that time, please give me the purview to sign these maps and date.
Sherry,
Pardon?
Sherry
Sherry
made a
moved.
motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Not hearing any, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You good?
Thank you very much. So I'll drop the maps off, Mylar.
Yeah, yep. Well, when you get your language, and that's on there, and you're ready to go. Okay, we,
We are good.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
all right,
John, I'll send you that.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
all right, no Doug, no Mike. How about Mr. Freeman here?
Yes, sir.
Come on up somewhere here and grab a chair and get a little closer to us. You don't have to come all the way up front here, you know.
Apologize for missing the meeting last month. I really wasn't around to be here.
Well, our punishment's minimal.
Yeah.
Okay.
More tax.
What do you want to do?
We just want to put up another storage building on our existing property, not on the property that we purchased 2 years ago. It would be very similar to what we have up now.
Is that property melded into your main operation there? Is that, or you
Yeah,
got
on
separate
that
deeds?
There's separate we have 3 separate properties. We have the operation where we do the storage and service and sales.
Up on 31.
On 31, we have the marina parcel, which is separate, and then we purchased the parcel in between, which is also separate.
Okay.
So it was my understanding with this plan development district, that it would be best to keep any storage buildings on the existing sales and service operation.
Right. But this building is going on a parcel that is not that?
No, this is going on the parcel.
Okay, that's where,
Yeah.
okay, that's where.
So it's gonna be right near where the other building.
Do we have some kind of a site plan or something?
I submitted that with the permit.
Rose, did you find that form, that is-
Are you free to go?
Yes.
I'm not reading the application.
How big's the building?
The building 72 feet wide, by 190 feet long.
190.
Do we have, I guess let's see what you got. Okay, now we're getting close.
So this is Route 31 here. These are existing buildings. These are the two new buildings that we put up last year. And this is the general area.
Okay. What, you can take a look, these are just kind of your elevations of the building itself.
It's very similar to the ones that they. This is very similar to what the other ones you just
Same
put out,
market type,
just
yes.
bigger one, okay.
We're trying to get rid of shrink wrap. It's ugly,
Yeah, I wonder, in fact, I was in the discussion, unrelated somewhere, what do they do with all this stuff?
Well, right now it goes in our dumpster and, they take it to the landfill and they recycle it over there, but it's not good, so our ultimate goal is to try to get rid of it, but the only way to do it is we store it.
Okay.
Frank, is this a map you have? This is the site plan?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see any setbacks off of the lot lines for where this building's gonna be.
I don't either.
We just need to know it.
Yeah.
We're gonna stay, at least 20 feet off all the way around. We have plenty of room back there.
What do we need, Larry? Code for, pardon?
20 feet.
There you go.
20 feet from side yard, front yard, backyard, rear yard, 20 feet all the way around?
Okay.
Minimum setback 20 feet.
Is there gonna be lighting on the building?
No power, no utility. Cold storage.
And the trees there are gonna be blocking the view from neighborhood?
We haven't removed any trees.
No, I'm saying that building, when it's built, will not be, it's visible from the other neighborhood at Harbor Lights.
It would be visible in the winter, when all the, leaves go in.
Just like the other ones out there.
There'll be gutters on it. Hard rain and it hits the roof, the water goes to the ground, understood that. Where does it go from the ground?
We have no.
See Harbor's over here.
This is back in the, yeah, but this is back in the.
Right, but I'm saying it's Harbor Lights is,
Just let the board know how the water off, the sheet drain off the building and go onto the ground where it gets collected up so it doesn't go into the neighbor's yard. That's what they need to know about. If it's just that you've got an area that controls the water, you gotta tell them about it.
Yeah, he's asking me about drainage. We have no gutters on any of our buildings. We have the lot all pitched, 3 separate drains on the lot that go to catch ponds on our existing property.
Mostly all stone, probably.
It's all stone.
It's all stone.
you ought to indicate that on one of these maps. If you could revise, just upgrade that. And the question about, did you say yes for lighting or no for
No,
lighting?
no.
Nothing in it?
No utility.
No utility.
Nothing. Why, you've obviously got copies of this and stuff, right? Haven't you got?
You can have that.
Yeah, right, but you got,
Yeah, I got them on file.
if you could clean up, just take this and then show the setback from the side at 20 feet, okay?
Or whatever he wants.
Yeah.
If it's more, if you wanna go 40 or 50,
maybe
just
more,
put a
yeah.
little,
20's
put a
minimal.
little line
Yeah,
in the number.
whatever you want to do, just so it's indicated on here, okay? And that, I think that's a good point you brought up about the drainage and the idea that everything's staying on your lot, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got your drainage, indicate that on this map,
Okay.
okay? All right, so, you want a public hearing on this?
No,
We didn't on the
It
others.
shouldn't have to be on the PDD.
In the PDD.
Okay,
it's very similar to the other buildings that were recently built, so.
okay,
Yeah, this is all about, in my mind, looking at this is all about drainage, Can the lot handle the additional hard surface of the roofs? And every time you add a new building, you just gotta double check, take a look at it, make sure you don't overwhelm the site with structures. And again, it has more to do about your neighbor's property than you can handle it, and that's fine. These other two already built, those two guys, is like.
Yeah. Property over here.
8.5 acres, 8.6.
That's yours, yeah, that's all, that's part of the PDD.
It's just got very high water table. This area here is wetlands and that.
And their nearest neighbor's quite a ways away.
Yeah.
Get that empty lot on the west side and an empty lot on the east side. You all still.
Okay, so you wish to do that?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
we need a motion that would incorporate those statements that you're going to approve it as submitted, and that you're waiving the public hearing.
We're gonna add a negative declaration based on me saying no impact on all these questions.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, I'll add that in there.
I'll do that now?
I'll do it right now. I'm gonna assume the answer is no to all these questions. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? No. Proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity use of the land? Small impact. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. There's no CEA. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkways? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies? No. Public or private wastewater facilities? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of an important historic, archaeological, or architectural or aesthetic resource? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? No. Will the proposed action result in increased potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? We discussed that. He's got sufficient land area, and he's got some on-site drainage areas. So the answer is no. And 11, will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No. So with all those answers, I would say we're gonna put a negative declaration into what we're doing, and you're going to approve this request for this additional building of 72 by 90 by 16.
190.
Oh, excuse me, 190, sorry. 72 by 190 by 16, with a minimum setback of 20 feet. The applicant will bring in a marked up plan depicting those setback areas. No lighting and no utilities. Was that everything?
Sounds like that.
Okay.
Did we want to have delineation of where the wet areas or the drainage areas are?
That's what
I can show you, when I redo the map.
Crosshatch it.
That's what it's gonna be.
Sure. Label it drainage area or something like that.
Okay.
Who was the second on that?
I didn't even get it first.
We didn't,
I thought I wasn't sure.
No, you used what we were going to approve.
Oh, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, who's making the motion? Sherry.
I'll second.
Sherry, John. Okay, any discussion concerning that now? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Any business?
Thank you.
Get that
I'll
out?
get that over to you.
Yeah. Okay. Mike,
Yes.
do you have something for us tonight?
Well, I'm not sure if I need to be here. I talked to Mr. Becker and he wanted me to come to the town board meeting.
You're on the agenda.
I am for tomorrow night.
I'm recommending we approve it.
Okay, good. So I'm done.
Well, you'll be back after you get the approval from the
Yeah, I'll be
board.
back
You'll be
after
back
that,
in the
because
future.
I already-
Okay, well, that's what we kinda thought you were waiting, yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
sorry about that.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem. Yep, good.
We got two Larrys in the room right now. They don't get that often.
Okay, Mr. Schultz. You don't look like the Mr.
No.
Schultz that I talked to, but,
No, I'm not.
okay.
Hey, John. My name is Matt Bredenberg. I'm a landscape architect and representing Dutch and Sherry.
Okay,
Um,
sit if you like, stand if you like, whatever.
Want me to run through what he's proposing?
Yes, please,
Okay.
please do.
He is proposing he's got a 58 plus or minus
Do we
acre.
have copies of that?
Yes.
of that map
yes,
somewhere?
submitted.
I got an extra right here, Frank.
Thanks.
Here, it is. I bet we got a few buried in here.
You got it?
Nothing in here.
No, wait a minute, let's just get rid of that.
Oh,
How well like this?
I'll take your word.
It's all the same?
Yes.
One's a survey, one's a subdivision.
Oh, okay. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the subdivision.
We subdivided it before, so it's good for it.
I agree. But I'm not sure, Sherry, that that ever was finalized. I don't think it was ever finalized. There was a strip of about 4 or 5 houses right along North River. But I don't think it was ever completed.
Yeah, currently it's one contiguous lot.
Yeah, now it sort of appears to me, you would know, you know,
It's not for the road, it's,
you'd have to go back and, in fact, okay.
So they're proposing, 13 lots, 12 building lots to be sold off. This, property has public sewer and water on both Hitchcock and North Road. The lots are approximately 2 to 4 acres apiece. It's an MR12 zone, so 12,000 square foot minimum. They wanted something that's, Dutch and Sherry live on the corner of Damon Point and North Road. And they wanted something that was scale-wise in keeping with the neighborhood. There's a lot of properties, similar size. So there is a stream, a ditch, I guess we can call it. It looks like a channelized drainage ditch that goes through the center of the property toward the lake. Probably the western 40% of the property. Up to this point right here. This is a wooded wetland. So that's why he really didn't want to get into that area as well. I've drawn on a 100-foot setback on both sides of the ditch. It looks like upland on both sides of the ditch, but obviously the DEC has a 100-foot buffer or check zone on the other side of that.
So what effectively, outside of that buffer on lot 11, how much land's left?
Check my scale. But it's, you want to know what the frontage and what that
Yeah, just, you know,
developable area?
just ballpark, you got the two that are affected by that, buffer.
It's probably, like lot 11 is probably an acre.
Okay.
Because it's 2.25, so I think the building envelope's about an acre.
And lot 10, that little end there just gives you 75 feet, so I won't know you don't need that, you can use the whole front.
Yeah.
So is this a 12 lot or a 13 lot?
It's actually 12 lots, but 13 total because the remainder is lot 13.
Okay, so I need to know the remainder.
Yeah, the remainder is.
The remainder is 25.75 lots, or 25.75 acres.
Correct.
And the hope is, once we get through the preliminary plat, of course, we'll have forest throughout the final plat for us.
Okay.
One question I had, Frank, if I can. Barrett Lane, what is that, 30-mile-an-hour road? What do you know?
I don't know.
You find out what the speed limit is there, and then each of these is going to require a driveway cut for building lot, right? They're going to sell for single family homes.
I'm sorry, I took your map, so.
So these are all on North Road. Okay, I'm sorry, North Road, but these are new too, right? So
Those are all.
no?
There is speed
Oh,
limit.
this is the 13. Okay, so anyway, Hitchcock Road and North Road are all going to have new
And
driveways.
then as you go
And
past Damon
is
Point.
this,
drop
are these
down.
both town roads? Is that county?
North
I
Road.
was down there not too
Which
long
one is?
ago, and I said,
North
I
is, but
saw
not
that
Hitchcock.
specifically.
So we're going to want to know about site distance on each of the lots.
Okay, it's.
I think there's 75 on there.
Yeah, well, I mean, but you still want to get something that says there's enough there's the ability to, get people in and out safe. I'm sure it is, it's just a matter of checking the box on that.
Okay, is that just a letter from the county DOT?
I'll take it, yeah, we'll take
Yeah.
that, right, Frank?
Pardon?
We take a letter from the county
Yes,
DOT.
yes, we will.
You can check with the highway superintendent on Hitchcock Road and see if he just eyeball it for you, I'm sure he'll be, it's always better to have it.
Right.
Did you start talking about drainage?
No, I haven't got there yet, okay.
Sorry, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, there it is, drainage here, sir. Yeah, we've got everything's coming to the front, right? Or no? We can't tell, there's no obstacles on it.
There is a culvert on both roads.
The center of
But
the property drains to.
Culvert, open ditch.
Open culvert.
The center of the property drains to the drainage ditch. And I think the southern part of the, down in here drains to the road here. And I believe there's a high point right in here, so that kind of drains back this way.
You probably ought to see some topos on this, probably like, you'll be pushing hard to get 1 foot, but, huh?
Yeah, it will be.
Huh?
Okay.
You may not hit too many lines.
No, there won't.
So Matt, which way does it carry so the water comes to that center ditch, where does it carry, out to North Road?
Nope.
Oh, it takes it to the back and then
Yep.
does it continue on, is there a ditch that continues on that? way?
Continues on the harbor front
Oh, it looks like
to the canal.
Yeah, drainage ditch that runs this way, just meets up with the water over there.
So the big question here might be, with a 13 lot subdivision, do you wanna have Mac do a drainage analysis you can look at to say, if this is fully built out, what will the impact of drainage be on the neighborhood behind it? Will it be okay? I mean, with one this big, we normally have our town engineer take a look, but Matt would do the initial review and then our engineer would take a peek at it to make sure we don't, if it's all built out and all these lots sell off, that'd be great, just to make sure that we don't have any drainage issues, 5-6 years down the line, once it's fully built.
Yeah, for us to sit here now and kind of look,
Sure.
even from our unscientific point of view, you can't see where the water's flowing, and as John said, this ditch is gonna go off property, right?
Yes.
The flow is gonna be to the northwest,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So you're gonna end up over here, and it could affect, I don't know where we're in the Fisher Bay. Yeah, you're gonna be at that,
It makes its way somehow down through there.
right. So without increasing flow, So we need to get a little better handle on that.
Just a conceptual on just basically identifying where the water's gonna go from each of these lots.
I would say, but again, I would definitely put some kind of
Contours.
contours on it. I mean, you may not have more than one or two. I don't know. It's pretty flat.
Yeah.
But also we are aware. I mean, that I've seen a lot of standing water in that hole seasonally.
Yeah.
And people are going to, I would think, build these lots. Somebody's going to fill them. You're not going to go in there and use that lot at that grade. Most likely. And then if you do, if you do that, then you're gonna have some kind of swales. Is this supposed to be your building block box?
Yeah, those are
Okay.
the envelopes.
All right, so you're gonna have, again, if somebody raises them, then somebody else is getting the water.
Right.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And so we probably gotta have something here that would kind of show how we can take care of that as people start to,
We have to have some kinds of swales going in between.
that's right.
And the
Yeah.
water running off into this property, they're not doing anything back into this channel.
Right. But I think
Same here.
Right.
good point. I think we just need to know where the water's going. and
Absolutely.
What's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
And where it naturally
Yeah.
flows.
Is any of that wetland? Just that 25 acre site?
Just
Lot
back
13.
right here.
That ought to be on,
Yeah.
other than your,
Yeah.
if you've got that designated wetland ought to be on there.
Yeah, I can take the map of wetlands from the DEC maps
Sure.
and slap that on there so you can get a general understanding of where that is. On the aerial photo, you can kind of see, ignore the lines for the lines, but you can kind of see the wooded area. The rest is actively, well, was actively farmed at one point, but
Well,
this whole area, probably, and that's what I was referring to, like about 40% of the way down this stream, it's, I would consider all this wetland in here. I think the DEC would too. And there's probably some creek at the corners too.
Do we have any concern about, federal wetlands?
I did look it up, no. I didn't see any on the National Wetland Inventory map.
what was the question? I couldn't hear.
Federal wetland,
Federal. Well, Larry had mentioned something to me that we probably should ask about, which is, the location of the floodplain in the subdivision area. So, Matt, I don't know if there's any way you can just show us that.
Yes, I can show that to you. I looked at the National Inventory, Wetland Inventory, I also looked at the DEC, and I looked at the FEMA map, and none of those concern me other than the DEC wetland, but I can get all that information to you so you can see for yourself.
Frank, this might be one of the ones where, Matt's probably done a good map for us to look at and laid a lot of this out for us. This might be one where we want to give Matt a chance to revise his map and show us some of the things the board's interested in, come back at the next meeting, and then rather than be ready for a public hearing, might be a little bit ahead of ourselves and then decide if the town engineer needs to peek at it. But, Matt, I deal with Matt in a lot of different jurisdictions, and his stuff is top quality, but we should probably just do our due diligence on our own too.
okay?
Sounds good.
Let's do that, we'll do what, get it to us, we'll take one, we'll look for the meeting.
Okay, so I'll come back with drainage
Yeah,
and more information on FEMA, wetlands,
DOT.
DOT, letters regarding site distances. And I think that was.
You probably wanna talk to the highway.
75 feet.
Probably
Well,
one of the
no,
roads
well,
in town, just make sure
state-
it'd be good with
this-
issuing permits for that.
that, you bring up, you bring up a good point.
That's a county road, right?
Yeah, it's a town road, that's, you get away with 75 feet. And you could on Barrett Lane, but these are not his, this is not what he's doing, he's doing these guys. And, you might have to have that 150 feet, I gotta look that up, but, where?
This is
That
150, yeah, see, he's 150 feet here,
Right,
because this is lot 10, because he's got the irregular shape.
right.
But that's only 150 feet, is that
No,
acceptable?
that'd be fine. No,
Okay.
No,
Okay.
no, the only question would be, in an MR12, he's got sewer and water, he can have 75 foot of front.
Okay, then
Okay.
we're good.
And he's got, but, the question is, this is not a town highway, this is a county highway. And our law says on state and county highways, we gotta have 150 feet. And I think that would be the only one.
Do they have 150?
Yes, you
I'm
got
sorry.
it listed here as 150.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Okay,
you're good.
okay.
Good. Well,
You're
nothing
good,
less than
you're good.
Alright.
Yeah, that covers it. Okay.
great.
All right,
Yes.
we'll keep one of these here, well, we keep them all.
We keep them all,
We got a lot-
yes.
We got a lot.
Well, you-
All right.
Thank you
That's
very
one
much.
thing we do have is a lot
Oh,
of
the
pictures.
other funny.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, you're welcome. There's all of these.
Frank, you also have a 2-lot subdivision from Schultz.
Yeah, okay, this, yeah, all right.
His house is a lot.
Okay, I think this was this one.
Yep.
No, this is the 13th.
Wait, what's the name, what was the one we just did?
We did, but he's got, he wants to subdivide his own lot across the road.
Oh, it's a separate parcel?
Yeah.
Number 1.
This is an application for the big one. Let's see what we got here. Okay, don't run away with Duck Schultz. Those maps are,
Is it a separate map, Matt, on that one?
Yes.
Matt?
Okay, then this is a separate map.
Well, no, these are supposed to be surveys, he said, but they, I don't know.
I got
Maybe
the
this is
13
the lot,
lot.
maybe this is it.
Is there a separate application for
Yeah.
that?
There's a separate application.
Should be
I'll,
a
I'll
separate-
see if I can find that, I didn't see that.
Oh, this is the original survey of the 58 acres, that's the original lot.
So let's pull that one up, put that back in here, and that's all the.
I'm gonna stick around and just listen. I don't know that much about, I do know what he's trying to do though.
Okay. I just didn't know if you had a drawn up a map for that.
Not anything that he submitted, I do have a survey of that property. when he-
What are you pointing to?
Oh, here?
Basically.
Oh, it's,
Is there two lot subdivision maps in
here's the wetlands right here. Yeah, here's the two lots. Who's representing you on this, Forrest?
I can, I don't know too much about it.
There's two, you have the small lot and the large lot, that's what you've got.
Rose, you got a property address or a tax map ID number for this one?
I can give you a property, 9374 North Road.
That's the one we just did.
No, that's the residence of them.
So my
yeah, this
agenda,
is-
my agenda says 9374 North Road, and it says MR 1213 lot subdivision on 58.4 acres, that's my agenda.
That's all we have.
9374
This is
is
residence.
their residence.
That's the residence, next to his name.
I don't know,
Where's the other?
Well, he,
I mean, I wouldn't.
Where's the two?
it was mentioned that they live on the
Must
corner,
be using
so
the
that,
same address.
That's for that subdivision?
Yeah.
On the corner of David's Point, I think.
So what do we have
Yeah.
for property tax ID number for the two lot subdivision?
3.1-2.916.
2.916? That's all we
On that side of the road is the even side of the road.
Okay.
I'm just gonna pass these down to Sherry and Dave for more copies.
There you go, sir.
Okay. All right.
Any more?
There we go.
Need another one, Larry?
Bigger map, you got one of those.
Got one, yeah. They got,
You have one thing. These here.
Wants to cut things up.
What is it doing? What's it gonna be?
Sherry,
figure this out.
these-
This is
a
a
bigger-
house on
this is a
a
bigger
existing
lot.
lot, right?
So this is just the house, and that's gonna be the house and the other lot.
Paul, can you give me a picture?
Okay, the initial site
Yeah.
that they own is, 2 acres. That's the 93, whatever, 9374, is that the address?
Yeah.
Yeah, 9374 North Road, that's their residence, 2 acres.
Okay.
there's the 9374 on this, the application says 12 acres.
Well, yeah, they're dividing off 10.5.
So you go back to creating that.
So is this the rest of it? Is this the?
Well, the whole parcel right now is 12 acres.
So that's this, that includes
That's
this
the
here
big one.
too.
That's correct.
That's the big one.
But that's all of this. That's, see,
Right.
this is what they want to do.
But this survey is this lot.
Okay.
1467, 343, 2 acres right here on the corner. So that's this lot. This is the 12 acres, includes all this, plus this other residential lot.
Yeah, Paul, let me give you some history. Mr. Schultz built his house on the corner,
Okay,
beautiful home. Then he wanted to build a barn, because he bought the acreage behind him. But he couldn't put a barn on a vacant lot. So he had to merge the big lot with the house. Now he wants to convert his barn to a house and sell his house. So now he's gonna split it to what it used to be.
all right,
So his house was this plus all of this,
right.
and now and that's where the barn is.
Okay, so initially it was 14 acres. Right, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep, all right.
Now, John, I think the problem is, we've got now a building on a lot that if we separate this, is a non-conforming.
But we've given him a permit to convert it to a house pending the subdivision.
So the only thing I would say there, that's wonderful, so long as it actually gets converted.
I have building plans and everything.
Well, I can show you building plans. So how are we gonna make sure that happens? Well, I guess if it didn't happen, you'd go to court, which I make more money that way. Even better.
Better to prevent it than have to go to
It
court.
is, yeah, normally, some places you go, well, you get the building permit, or you get the plans and everything, and I have one place, like, they make you put a deposit down, and you get back and you finish the house, but I'm not suggesting you do that at all. It just is a little cumbersome. But Frank's right, I mean, you recognize that right away, which is, in order to put the barn there in the first place, he had to combine the lots, because he had to have a primary structure, he does. Now we're breaking it back up, Frank rightly says, well, wait a minute, this is exactly the situation he had to combine it for, and Larry's position, or Larry's explanation from the owner is, well, I'm gonna take this barn, I'm gonna turn it into a lovely home, I guess. Right, and you have the plans on file?
I've already issued him a permit for the house conversion.
So he
The
gets
conversion, or whatever you wanna call it. Well, if the board is, I guess,
I don't care,
if
as
the
long as
board,
you-
if the board wants to accept that, I guess, as far as we go, all right, but I mean, that is an issue, that's all.
You need to schedule a public hearing for this, for the
Subdivision.
lot,
Yeah,
adjustments here. And I've got short EAF.
let's do that.
Okay, I'm gonna suggest all the answers are no to the environment. Will proposed action create a material conflict with adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? Hopefully not, hopefully not. Will proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity use of land? Small. Will proposed action impair the character quality of the existing community? No. No critical environmental area. Will proposed action result in adverse change in existing level of traffic, mass transit, biking, or walkways? No. Proposed action cause an increased use of energy and fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will proposed action impact existing public and private water, public and private wastewater? I think it's on both public and private sewer and water. It's on public sewer and water, I think. Will proposed action impair character, quality, important historic, archaeological, architectural, aesthetic resource? No. Will proposed action result in an adverse change in any natural resources? No. Will proposed action result in an increased potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage? No. Proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No. So check no or small impact to each of these. You'll need a motion for a negative declaration and to set it for a public hearing, right? October 4th. At, what are we at, 6:45? 6:45.
Okay, Russ?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion to approve the motion, if it passes, then you'll have the lines in their statement that they have on file. They have on file building permits or request for building permit, and one has been issued to do that conversion. And then it's up. Okay? You have any more down there, guys? Not sure we've got here.
No.
We don't wanna mix the two.
No,
What
that's,
did you-
here's the large
what did
ones,
you got?
there's the large ones, I
Large.
think there's small ones.
Is that what- Here's the app. Here's an app. You wanna put all the maps together and
Right.
put a click on it. Okay, folks, you're up. You guys. I'm sorry, I don't have a name.
David Bellerin.
My name is David Bellerin, and I live on 37 Esther Avenue with my daughter Patricia, a handicapped 53-year-old. And this is my daughter Penny. She lives in a big house, separate from me. Years ago when I was in Vietnam, I had two things that used to bother me, and I used to think a lot about. One was, what are we doing here destroying this country and the people? And the second thing that bothered me, it didn't bother me, it got me away from that. I go in my tent and I would think about owning the dock on a boat on another lake. And I used to fish there and loved it. So it didn't happen right away after I got out of the service, but eventually I have a property there now. And the first thing I did was the water's kind of low. I had bought a 60-foot dock to go way out. You go 60 feet out and you're still in the water about up to here. So, but it worked good because my grandkids and my great-grandkids come up there and school went out in June till today when they went back to school. They're up there almost every day.
Oh, that's great.
They live down here in DeWitt.
Where is it exactly?
Pardon?
Where is it exactly?
Tell us where we're
237
going.
Esther.
Oh, Willie Road, Willie.
237 Esther. It used to be Esther Ave, but it's not Esther Ave anymore.
237.
It was the first.
Esther doesn't exist, really.
Esther.
It's one of those that does and doesn't.
I met the grandson of the person who built that house, and that's the oldest building in that area.
Okay.
And the father even built the road, they call it Willie Road, or Willie Road, I mean.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, the house is a little too big actually for me and my handicapped daughter. And my daughter Tanya has a big house. She has two big extra rooms, so she wants me to move in with her. Well, that would be good, but if I sold my house, I would like to still keep my 60-foot dock where my family always comes up. And we have cookouts there, and for my grandkids and great-grandkids to enjoy the water. So I need a variance because the swatch of land that goes down there, I have a garage there. And it's got all my personal things there. I even got my foot locker with my uniform in there.
All right, you gotta help us here a little bit.
Okay, so it's
All
been
right.
a little bit of a confusing process for us. We've been in touch with the code enforcer because I think my dad mentioned he's retired military. We want to make sure that we're doing things right.
Sure.
And we certainly don't know zoning rules or codes. Before he even tries to hire an attorney or a surveyor to work on this subdivision, we wanted to make sure that we understood process. And in speaking to the code enforcer, he shared that we have to have an actual subdivision done to present to the board. But in speaking to the surveyor, they've notified us that we have to have approval from the code enforcer, which we don't, because it seems like what my dad is proposing doesn't meet all of the codes. We tried to make this bigger, I apologize. He has 7 lots here, and this red area is what we just kind of made a crude highlight of to show what he would like to keep. And we didn't even want that to be so big with the subdivision, but we understand that you have to leave the buildings.
All right, let's back off a little bit.
This is the house.
This is the house in the waterfront.
Yeah, here's your lake. Here's Wiley Road.
Yes.
Okay. And so you right now currently, all of this right in here all belongs to you.
All of these.
Everything is on here. All these lots,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Now Esther Ave. Where's Esther is
Esther
over
is
here,
here.
right? Oh, yeah, okay. There's one of our paper streets.
Here.
Okay, all right, okay. Okay, so let's see if we can figure out what you're trying to do.
Okay, so he wants to keep his garage which has all of his fishing equipment,
Alright.
and a strip just going down to his boat dock right here.
Okay.
And like I said, after speaking to the code enforcer, he let us know that each of the lots that are separated have to be certain thousand square footage for buildable lots. And you have to have so many foot of road frontage, and there are requirements that we have to meet.
Correct.
So if he were to split this, it's not exact, of course, we would need a surveyor to have exact measurements, in this red area, that allows him to keep his shed for all of his equipment, and this piece of land going down to the dock where he can put his boat dock and his boat and the trailer throughout the year. What the code enforcer has informed us is that doing this would leave this garage a non-conforming
This is what we
structure.
just had a second ago.
Correct.
We're literally just talking about the one in front of you. You could see there was a potential for a garage to be a standalone structure, which we normally don't allow, but they're proposing to convert the garage into a home.
And the other kind of major stumbling block, which is really probably larger than the building, is that when you create, this is you're gonna sell, your intent would be to sell this,
This,
correct?
Mhm.
With a house.
right.
You have no frontage. You have no frontage on a road.
We have,
Esther Ave is a paper street, not a dedicated road.
Well,
I double checked that, but I'm pretty sure.
There's no road along the, from here, on the left side, from my point perspective here. Right where your fingers, that's not a road
okay,
there
I mean,
to access
this is
that.
all, whatever we need to do to make it work. We could go down like this
No,
and over so that they could have their road frontage. This is a shared driveway.
Okay. that's a
Everyone
shared
down
driveway,
here
okay.
uses the driveway here from Wiley down.
So
So
that's
it's,
deeded?
yes,
Okay.
No, you
Yes.
think, okay, everyone here.
There's a-
There's another house here.
there's two homes here where they use
The same
the
driveway.
same driveway.
Okay.
So we're just, we're just trying to explore options to see how we can meet.
We're trying to see if we can find you a pathway too, but, this is, you got some issues here.
So initially, like I said, Dad was just trying to keep his garage and just a strip down, but when the code enforcer said we have to have 75 feet of road frontage with the shed, he proposed 50 feet from the west end in, so that we'd have 50 foot of Esther and
Because there might be an additional issue though, if it's just a shed and a dock, and you're splitting this up to create a new lot, that kind of runs against what we were just talking about a few minutes ago.
Regardless of all the other
Yeah,
stuff.
regardless of.
Right.
Yeah, we
Larry,
understand
did you already look at that part of it?
The issue is
What's-
that they don't
what's-
intend to make this a residence, this is
No.
gonna stay a shed or a garage, right?
Yep.
You
Yeah,
can't
so
do
we-
that, as we're saying, on a parcel,
so
that's
that's
the
the
whole
other
garage.
question that
that's
we
what John's
have.
explaining, you can't do that unless it's unless
Just
it's a
within
residence.
our neighborhood, there are 3 properties that have garages without homes. So
Well, they're
we
not
under-
conforming.
So I don't know if we can create that.
But we
Yeah,
can't
Larry-
create it,
Larry-
maybe something in the past.
Grandfathered in.
Yeah, grandfathered in, but
We can't
under
do it.
today's
This board
law,
can't-
you can't have
We can't
it.
do it any longer. We can't
So
do
why
it.
are they here? Because they need a use variance.
They're asking what they can do.
we
Well,
asked
you're
if
supposed
we
to tell them you need a use variance. You are the lineman. You examine the play and you say, okay, this is what you need. And you're saying, and I agree with you, that it really would be a use variance to have an accessory structure on this lot. I'm not saying you can't get it. I'm just saying, I don't know that it's a planning board issue quite yet versus
Well,
the
we
code
said-
officer sending.
You gotta find a
place.
pathway for us. We can't. What, if we can cut to the chase a little bit. This board here is the planning board. We enforce what would be subdivision laws and whatever that are on the books. If you meet the letter of the law, we can deal with it.
Mhm.
When you have something like this that doesn't meet the letter of the law, in other words, you've got a couple issues. One, you've got what we call the garage,
Mhm.
which would be an accessory structure
Mhm.
without a principal residence. That is illegal in this town now, okay? That wasn't always the case, but it was. So you can find that existing here and there. But we would not allow that today. And as John said, the last one we just had, that we talked about the same issue, okay? Came from a little different perspective than this, but the same thing. So in order to get by that particular one, you have to get a use variance, a use of your property to say, and that would be the zoning board of appeals, and they would review this, and if they felt they wanted to grant that, your relief, that would be different. And then the planning board could deal with that particular issue. Now, you've got other issues in that you are gonna create a lot that technically doesn't have any frontage on a public right of way. See, Esther Road, we can double check again, but my understanding is Esther Road is what is called just a mapped road, undedicated. The town has never accepted that as a road. Therefore, it's not a road. In the middle of
That's our address.
Pardon?
That's our address.
I know how you got. I don't know how you got
I mean, the
Esther. I know
postal
that
service
when you
is
said that,
different.
I thought, wow, how do you get Esther Road? But there again, I don't know how that happens. But
And in addition to that, you're using a shared driveway as access to your address. So that's not even.
But it might be on. It
something
may
we can
not
work
be. Is the driveway
It's
on
our
yours?
driveway.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
driveway's on there, so that's not a problem.
That's on your property.
Yes.
Oh, okay, well, I thought you were saying it was, okay.
They can get down there
You
anyway.
grant the other neighbors use.
I maintain
Oh,
the
right.
driveway,
Right.
Right.
the other two families
Right.
use.
But see,
all three
but
of
see,
them.
because you maintain it, that's not part of the
No,
town's
it's on
responsibility.
It's on.
Right, but you are maintaining it. The town doesn't come through there and plow it and fill the potholes and stuff like that. Therefore, it's
Yeah, you
not,
fill.
it's not a street that would meet the
We
requirements.
just want the storage for the
But
fishes here.
that's not even the issue. The issue is what the disconnect is. He has an address on Esther Avenue, and technically he should not have an address.
That's
It
the
doesn't
reason.
really exist.
That's
I
That's the
know,
postal
but
service.
your address should be Wiley Road. I never get it right, Wiley. Wiley Lumber, I think this is the same, I think it's the same outfit. It's Wiley, I think it's Wiley Road. But we throw that back and forth. But so we'd have to figure that one out, okay? So you got a couple of issues here. Can I see the map, that map again? Now, you got, what is the total, you know what's the total acreage that you have?
Acre,
Pardon?
acre.
A full acre? Well, and you have sewer and water, do you not?
Yeah.
All right,
They would own
currently. You technically, if you could figure out how to get each lot with 75 foot of frontage on Willie Road, which you're gonna have a hard time doing because you only got 120.
Well, I think that's why.
But you could get a
he
variance,
suggested
that would be that would be,
Area variance.
yeah, what John didn't throw in his disclaimer normally is to get a use variance,
It's impossible.
yeah, you gotta wear halos.
He has a halo, he's a war veteran.
And you got, okay, and wings,
He's as
and
close as
wings.
we have to an
Okay,
angel
you
in
got, they're tough to get, but an area variance is a different issue. So, I'm just telling you, you would need technically 150 feet of frontage on Willie, or Wiley, I just did it myself, Wiley, then 12,000 square feet minimal per lot. Now, you can do that if you've got an acre of land. In theory, you have enough land, okay? You could get a variance for road frontage. What's your garage made of?
Waffle with steel.
Steel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Corrugated metal.
What's it sitting on? Sitting on a footer?
Pad.
A pad. Well, there is such a thing as move the garage over on one side, the other side.
Oh, that'd be too hard to do. Tear it down and build it again?
No.
It's a
Move
cement.
it, well, no, it's not a pad, but maybe that would free up that would free up your shot to your house on one side, then what I just said to you might work. See, what you're doing is you're eating up all your frontage. You're eating up all the frontage with the lot you want to keep, and you're not leaving any frontage for the house that you want to sell. Technically, I know you got an address on Esther Ave, but it isn't making sense
confusing.
right now. I don't.
So we wouldn't be able to keep the 50-foot on Esther and Wiley to make up the 75-foot of road frontage, is that what you're saying? Because that was your suggestion, right, to go 50 foot in from the west, and then we'd have 100 feet of road frontage.
I don't think Esther works, period, no matter what you do.
Esther isn't the road.
It's technically not a road. How you got an address on it is beyond me. I don't know. Plus you can prove somehow that that's a dedicated road. You're gonna have to do something here. I don't know what to do.
Splits it in half, and it goes up 60 feet.
Huh?
This is a tough one.
Yeah.
This is not easy. It's,
I mean, the ambulance comes down there, the mailman comes down.
I know.
UPS.
UPS?
Everybody comes down.
Yeah, well, they don't have to read the town maps.
Who plows it?
You know, as long as they can drive down there, they'll go drive down there. But that's your conundrum.
We don't.
Are we making
don't
any
need
sense
to.
to you? You understand what we're trying to tell you?
Well, if it's moving a building, that's impossible.
Well, it's never impossible. It's a matter of.
So I can start moving buildings.
Frank, there might be other ways to accomplish this goal. The stated goal is to be able to go down to the dock and do some fishing and things like that. If he lists the house for the property for sale as is, there might be a contract to be had with the future purchaser that gives him access, not to live there, but to do those things.
Yeah, but he wants both ends of the lot. He wants to be able to move stuff.
He
You know,
just has a lot of fishing equipment. He has
You
a
might
dock.
work out an arrangement with the owner to keep all his fishing equipment
Sure.
in there.
Tools, wheelbarrows.
In perpetuity, binding. and
You might, or let the garage go with the other. Let the garage go with the house and build yourself another storage unit.
They're gonna need area
He's on a
variances
fixed
most.
Yeah.
budget, so, you know, we
Yeah.
appreciate
Can't
those
guarantee that.
options, but he's on a
Zoning board
fixed
just turned one
retired
down,
budget.
so.
I think somebody asked why we were here, and we're here because the code enforcer had suggested that we come here to see if there's a covenant that we could sign and add to the subdivision paperwork that would indicate that we wouldn't turn this pole barn into a mechanic shop, because really, we thought that the non-conforming structure issue is that it would be turned into a commercial property in 10 or 15 years. We didn't know that there were other issues with Esther not being a road or
That's not an
a
issue.
public avenue. And he thought that if we would be agreeable to saying that it would not be commercial, that this is the board that would approve that and allow us to put those contingencies in place.
Not my opinion, but Larry, why don't you explain to us what you had said so people aren't
I
saying
said
what
that-
you said.
By you'd be creating a non-conforming lot. You can't let that happen, because if we did, then people could, 10, 15 years down the road, take the garage that was normally just for fishing stuff, and all of a sudden flip it open to a car repair shop.
We could have to slip the road.
The code won't let them do that anyway.
Right.
Zoning
Right.
code won't allow you to
Right.
create a commercial operation in this residential structure.
That's what's happened, that's what happens in MR12 with garages that are on their own lots.
It becomes an
People
enforcement.
always try
Right.
to make car repair businesses out of it.
Well, what he has right now, he has a house, he has a garage, he's got a nice dock, he's got a lovely setup by the water. But the real need is he's gonna move in with his family, and that's a good thing for the family and for him. Okay, we understand that. Now, what's standing in the way is our zoning law, which doesn't see how nice these people are, but it says this is what everybody has to
Right.
do. So now, in order to do some of this stuff, you're gonna need multiple variances of multiple types, including potentially a use variance for that standalone garage to be all by itself, down to the water. And then there's the matter of whatever the new lot looks like, we'd have to see a map, what they propose, and then Larry has to say, okay, you need an area variance for this, and a setback variance for that, and a lot area variance for this. There might be enough, I don't know until you see what the full
If you
map
make,
looks like.
it by, again, rethinking a little bit, and again, you have to make those decisions. Rethinking how you sell that lot with more land and that building on, that would be more money, for the other property. You really don't care about the other property, you just want access. You're gonna park a car, or truck, whatever it is up at the end, bring the grandkid, whatever that's gonna be, and going down to the dock. But you still need your storage building. Maybe you could figure it out that you could get enough money out of upgrading that other lot to get enough bucks to put up another steel building over in the lot that you keep. Then your variances are gonna be minimal if you can meet the area, in which you technically can, from 12,000 square feet, you've got, what, you got 24, that's only about a half an acre. Really, for the two lots minimally, you've got more than that, you've got almost twice that. So you ought to be able to figure out some kind of a boundary line that would satisfy that, and you could have 12,000, and the other one was gonna have a bigger lot.
Any way you all can.
But see, you can't come up
Frank, will
with
that be a
another way to
conforming
start.
use?
Pardon?
Will that proposal you're talking about still qualify as a conforming use
If it doesn't
under our
have a
code
house.
and in MR12?
Well, no, he's still gonna have to get a variance, he's gonna have to get some kind of a variance for that, or,
It's self-created hardship, automatic denial, that's the problem.
yeah, that would be tough, but maybe you can work out a deal. I don't know how you can, something.
It wouldn't hurt though, these guys are really good about working with you, but I always recommend talk to your local attorney or whoever you use and have them take a look at it. And that attorney can call me and I can talk to she or he about that as well. Try to help them out. But it's
We
very
appreciate
difficult to try.
If you could somehow, like John said initially, if you could figure out with the deal with the new owner, that you could lease that building back for life use or whatever it happens to be.
We don't need to know.
Huh?
We don't need to.
But
We don't
that,
want anybody living in it, but yeah.
no, but I mean, for storage,
Yeah.
he can have the storage use, but he's not gonna own the footprint, you're not gonna own the building.
It just can't be commercial storage, that's all.
Right.
No, it's
Right.
not. It's not.
But then again, if you just have an open lot with no building, you don't need that use variance. As long as it meets 12,000, technically it's not even a residential lot, but
If there's nothing on it.
nothing on it but your dock.
I'm sorry, I don't know if I understood that. If there's a new building put on without a home? It
No,
would,
You can't
Oh.
do that.
No.
That part you can't do.
And Frank's trying to say you gotta figure out a way to just isolate a strip of
well, I
land,
think
Yeah.
that's what we've
If
been
you
trying
had,
to do.
but you wouldn't have that in the garage.
you need, if this is, here's, I'm good, I can't write upside down. Okay, there's your storage building, okay, and the lake's up here. Okay, you got your dock, okay, and your house, the house is here, right? Somewhere. Okay. In this property, if you could sell it under some condition where they would give you license use of this building, even though now you're not gonna own it. Okay, you got the use of it, you've gained that. You've lost ownership, but you got the use. Now, this is an unimproved lot. As long as, and you're supposed to have 75 feet and 75 feet. You won't do it. You haven't got, you don't have 100, what do you have there?
120.
120 feet. So, but you need an area variance from the ZBA to get by with these frontages. That's a doable thing. Okay, that's doable. Then, the other now you don't have any building over here that says you've got a non-conforming building or an accessory building without a house or principal residence. That lot's a legal lot. We could subdivide that. But for you to keep this under your ownership, you eat up all the frontage. They don't have any frontage. I know you're talking about Esther Road. We're telling you that our understanding is, and you certainly can do your own research and whatever. And again, you got a good argument. I got to address this as Esther Road, but we're saying that technically it's not a road, and in the town's eyes. Okay. So then they do just take the whole Esther Road thing out of the picture completely. If you can do that, do these kinds of things, then you got a pathway. We're not saying it's the only one, but I think it's the only one we're coming up with something today. So this, yeah, it would work. So this would be lot 1, and this would be lot 2. There's your dock. That would be a workable plan. Could be.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So I know the zoning codes are in place to protect the public welfare and safety. What does a garage being on a lot without a house do to the public?
Well, these guys didn't write those laws,
No,
nor
I
did he
know.
write the law.
This is a condemned building with.
No, your question's a legitimate question. These guys aren't in a position to know the answer because
Oh,
they
okay.
didn't create those laws. It was our,
Well, I mean, I understand
prior
the
town boards
mechanic
had done it. Yeah.
shop and the commercial
Yeah.
issue, but like you said, there's other codes that would take care of that. If the shed is not going to cause any harm or detriment to the neighborhood, I'm not sure why there's even a code like that in place that's causing so much stress and burden to my dad.
So we deal with the codes that are in place. We don't deal with drafting new laws. This board.
Do you revise them? Does anybody look at them and revise them?
Occasionally there'll be revisions to the law. Yeah.
Okay.
The only ones that do that are the town board.
Okay.
We have to, as I said earlier, all we do is try to enforce the law that's on the books. And we're reiterating to you over and over here.
Mhm. So
That's-
there aren't
that's
any
what the books
covenants or contingencies that we could put in place to make sure that keeping that shed would not be harmful to the neighborhood at this level?
That's a different issue.
Yeah, I would think that.
Okay.
And it would be one that I don't know if we have the power to accept.
Yeah, I mean, you would create a hodgepodge of various covenants and rules for this parcel, but not that parcel. I mean, isolated, I understand what you're saying. It makes some sense, but when you say, if we do this across the whole township, every time someone has a issue that they want to deal with, we start creating special covenants and conditions for each one of these things, it could get pretty messy.
Well, I understand, but there are some buildings that you can look at visually that are unsafe, and we don't have any of those.
Oh, yeah, no
issues
doubt.
that
I
we share.
agree with what you're saying there. But right now, we're working within the constraints of the law that's on the books.
So is the town board, do they accept agenda items to review, things like that? I mean, I totally appreciate codes and
Well,
non-conforming
they
uses.
Why don't you, I would say, call Larry tomorrow and see if he can talk to the
Larry?
town supervisor about getting that on the agenda. But the agenda's already set for the next town board meeting, so
Okay.
that's already closed.
It's just really affecting my father's quality of life. It's stressful,
I
to know.
agree it's very stressful, but I will say this, that it applies to everybody. This law applies to everybody, your dad, these folks here that live in the town, so it's measured equally across the entire town. But I certainly do
I don't know that it
appreciate
is,
your.
though. I think
Okay.
that we wanna hope it is. Yeah, my sister just bought a property from, someone on Barrett Lane, which is not far.
Mhm.
And they sold her the house without their shed. And the shed didn't have a house to go with it. So that's a mile from us. There's a house or a shed currently for sale, which I talked to Larry about, on Andrews Road. They just sold their house a couple months ago and now they're selling the shed.
On
So-
on the piece of property, or just
Yes.
a shed that I would?
Separate piece of property?
It
Or
was,
shed
they
that I would take
subdivided
away.
it.
I don't know about that. That hasn't come
It
here.
was
No, nothing we did,
It was
but
an
we can't.
illegal split.
An illegal split, he says. That's why it was illegal.
Okay.
Which is consistent with what they're saying, that they're not allowed to.
So it's illegal, so what happens to that guy's property?
He's gonna go bring him to court and maybe put him in
Take
jail,
shed down.
you know? They'll make,
What-
they'll
what's
make
the-
him
Remove
take
it.
the
What
shed.
do, take his property away?
No.
No,
so
move
then
the
they'll
shed.
make him remove the shed.
Move the shed.
Yeah.
And if you don't remove it, what happens?
He gets fined, goes to court.
Yeah, you get fines levied against you, then it gets applied against the property, then it can go
And then they
into
take it away.
a foreclosure. Well, ultimately, if
I mean,
we're not
if
following
you're
the law,
going way,
ultimately,
way
we
out,
can use that,
way, way out with it.
That would be an extreme thing,
Yeah, that's
not,
extreme.
not to follow that law.
Mhm.
This was an illegal split in '96.
Actually, the owner
He's
just
paying
said he
taxes
sold
on
the
it every
house a
year?
couple months ago.
What's that?
This man must be paying taxes on his.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he
Illegal
is.
split, he's paying taxes every year.
Yeah.
The only,
Well, that's not a.
The only-
paying
the only thing that
taxes,
makes a difference,
that
sir,
doesn't mean, you can't.
he's still got the value of the lot, But what he's done, if he had any sense, he's not gonna risk the value of the lot because there's a shed on it. And he's getting taken to court.
The lot is
Logical
the shed,
person
though.
would take the shed out.
If
or
you took
remove
the
it.
shed out, I mean, the lot is the size of the shed.
It's
It's
a pole
only.
barn.
Huh?
It's a pole barn garage.
Yeah, probably a legal size, there's probably not much you can do with it.
It's in a,
He had no right to subdivide.
it's in a wetland.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Okay, well, we appreciate your time. It's a really difficult time to even get legal support. We've called 5 attorneys and not one has called back. 7 surveyors and only 1 called us back. So as we try to figure out this process, just reading through your web pages, it's a little confusing. And knowing that ultimately the goal is to make sure everybody's safe, it just doesn't make sense to us. Because there's nothing unsafe.
Keep everybody safe. That
Well,
garage
it's
is safe
more
as can
than
be.
safety, it protects somebody else's property. If you're in a residential area, you have a home, and then there's a lot that there's gonna have a shed on, you mow your lawn, you landscape it, it'll look nice, the next lot is just, and I'm not saying you wouldn't do something that looks bad, but you're protecting your property, because the next property could be a residence and then another shed, would you want, that's why the law is trying to establish that type of situation, to protect the individuals, the residents, not, and I know what you're saying, I agree with you, but you know, think about in that terms of somebody else that would deal with it.
I do, I think of it
That's
that
the-
way.
that's the
That the
problem.
owners coming in would know that there's a shed
So to
there
answer your
before
question,
they
why
purchase it.
this is why the law's in place for that, to protect.
But you could also
Don't
talk
have
to the
sheds.
owners and see if you can get lifetime use of the shed. And then put sell the whole property, you don't have to do anything. Right?
Certainly.
Yeah.
David Bell.
I don't know, I mean, that doesn't,
David Bell,
He's not.
No.
Yeah, right then.
that doesn't allow for the family to keep that, the grandkids and everybody to keep it for
Well,
some reason.
That's true, yeah, that's true, but that's kind of how it is for. It's unfortunate.
The lakefront always poses unique issues.
It's a tight situation.
That's right. And that's where a lot of that, I mean, a lot of the, what, people have small lots, they build big, over time, they built bigger houses on these smaller lake lots. They don't have any storage. So they go somewhere, and we've had people, they wanna buy a piece of land up the road to put somewhere, a building they can store their boat, store, they don't have any room. We understand that, but the problem is, historically, those turn into less than desirable sites. That's the impetus behind that law. Okay, you have a unique form of this.
I would try to consult.
But the problem is, we don't have the right here to make a decision and say, hey, this guy's a good guy, he just wants a fishing shed, no problem. We can't do that. That's our problem. See? So you gotta go through a process to do it. We're giving you an option. That's about as good as we can do.
You can get it done, it's just the garage is the issue.
Yeah,
If you wanted to just
You gotta
take the
solve
garage
it.
out of the issue.
That's what he
You
means
see?
though. That's where he has his
That's
issue.
your problem. The garage.
Okay, thank you. for
The
your
best bet is
comments.
try to negotiate a deal with your neighbor, your new owner, neighbor, whatever you wanna call it. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that needs to come in front of this board? Yes, sir.
I've got a question for the board.
Art, right?
Art, Lily,
How are you?
Waterbury Road. Last Thursday, September 1, I got a call from the DEC saying that the previous day, Wednesday, August 31, they received an application from Nexam, Chittenango Solar, for a permit to place their solar installation in the wetlands on the leased land they have on Lakeport Road. So I asked the question of them, how can the DEC evaluate a permit application before the town zoning board has even closed its public hearing on this and tabled the decision? They haven't finalized the location decision yet for the solar project. And they said they can't answer that. They would refer me to the agency designated in the permit as the lead agency. They said the town of Sullivan. So I'm coming to you. I don't know if this
We eventually, I mean, due course, we will be the lead agency for seeker review, all right? And the way the counselor suggested setting it up, it's a coordinated review. Right. So we need to be and then ZBA needs to act upon the request for a variance for the location of this with the federal wetlands. So that's all right now in limbo, and what's holding it up is statutorily, again, the law, we have to go 30 days from the day that it was dated, those letters went out, I guess.
They didn't go out until like the 8th or the 9th.
Yeah, so you're close. Next October, things should start to move again. At least give the ZBA the pathway to act.
So the ZBA can't vote on those requested variances until this board, as a lead agency, makes an ultimate determination of the environmental impact of the proposal if it were to be granted as proposed. So, it might take a little bit longer than it normally would.
We may not be able
And the
to.
solar people sort of know that, but it's a little bit backwards, but.
In the meantime, they filed an application with the DEC, not the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
Well, the other thing I would tell you is our engineers are doing a meticulous review of this application. So if there are Army Corps permits needed and or DEC wetland permits needed, our engineers will be sure to advise us of that. So we're still waiting for another comment letter from them. So the other thing to keep in mind is if those permits are needed, neither of these boards will be able to give, well, they could get contingent approvals of it, but not real final approvals. It won't be able to be built until both of those agencies sign up, or they say we have no jurisdiction. So that's supposed to happen. And if they violate that, then the DEC will, I guess. Supposed to.
Okay?
Yeah.
You have to wait all that time.
That's all right. This is my first meeting coming before, the park and the board, and I wanted to see it in action anyway. I've been watching it on YouTube, and I had to come and meet the board anyway.
This is the big league board.
Yeah, that's right.
These are the majors.
People are treated very well here, I've got to admit. Very well. Despite all of the complaints that we hear every month, they're treated very well by this board. So thank you.
We tried.
Thank you.
We tried. All right, do we have anything else? Not, I would entertain one more motion.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.